Welcome, RotoBallers. Another NFL season is upon us, which means fantasy drafts are getting underway. You may be familiar with our Team Sync tool, and if you are not, I encourage you to check out some of our other video tutorials on how to sync your fantasy leagues to our platform. But as you may already be aware, our Team Sync tool will assist you in setting up cheat sheets and completing mock and live snake and salary cap drafts. But if you weren't already aware, you now have the ability to use our Team Sync tool in order to assist you with your best ball drafts. As you know, best ball is more of a set it and forget it type of league. And in these types of drafts, you will consider adding boom bust players that have high weekly upside, but also a potentially very low floor. Whereas you may not consider that player for your season long redraft leagues. This tool is geared specifically for this format. So without further ado, let's get into it. So we'll first show you where to go. You're going to go to NFL, then under Premium Tools, select Team Sync Tools. On the right-hand side, scroll down, and you can select Manage Best Ball Leagues. As you can see, in the middle of the page, there is a list of supported platforms. And if you scroll down, you can choose NFL Best Ball. There are a few options on this page. Here's where you'll go to view your leagues or add them if you haven't already added them to the platform. You can also set up cheat sheets for your best ball leagues. And while there is no live draft assistant available, you do have access to our mock draft tool. In order to complete a mock draft, you click on Start, Continue Drafts, start a new best ball mock draft. Next, you'll need to confirm the settings in the drop-down menus. First is the draft mode. You can do a standard mock draft or a draft assistant, which allows you to manually enter picks. League emulation. You can see the supported platforms in the drop-down menu here. And draft method is defaulted to a standard draft. There is no auction or salary cap draft in best ball. Further down the page, you'll have some additional customization options. First one here is auto picks, how quickly you would like the AI to make pick selections. User picks allows you to set how long you'd like to have to make your selections. Note that while you're completing a draft, you do have the option to pause the draft, allowing you more time to make your selection. Under draft type, you can change it to linear or third round reversal, number of teams, your draft slot. You can use the default positions based on the platform you chose. In our case, we selected DraftKings, but you can also update those positions. Position weighting allows you to make customizations to specific positions based on league tendencies. So if you know your league mates typically draft quarterbacks very quickly, you can place a higher emphasis on quarterbacks. Same with these other positions. Here are two main differentiators when it comes to our mock drafts for best ball, and that is the ability to set a weighting on upside potential when the tool is calculating the recommended next pick. So if you want the system to recommend extreme boom bust players over other players that would have otherwise been recommended, you could set this to very high. You also have the stacking feature, where the system will consider players you've already selected when making the next recommended pick. For example, if you've already selected Jamar Chase and it's now time to recommend a quarterback, the system will lean more towards recommending Joe Burrow instead of Justin Herbert, for example. Now we'll begin our mock draft. You'll start here on the Expert Picks page, where you'll see recommended picks based on team need and based on overall value. There's a host of information on this page, including rank, ADP, bye week, and for best ball drafts, the upside volatility. There's a system calculated need score and a percent ANP, which stands for Available Next Pick, which shows you the chances that this player will be available when it's your turn to draft again. You also have RotoBaller's projected stats down below, along with last season's results. On the left-hand side, you have your roster, your queue, and your log, which shows the history of picks. You have filters along the top here. You can also change the amount of recommended picks you see on this page from 10 to another amount. And you also have these tabs that you can go through while the draft is going on. You can add or remove players to the queue by clicking on the star. You can also draft players from this tab. Let's go ahead and start this draft. You can see the picks filling in. I'm going to pause it. Now you can see both for team need and overall value, the recommended pick is Mike Evans. But below that, Sam Laporta is the next recommended pick based on team need, while overall value, the next recommended pick would be Brandon Ayuk. Now, our recommended pick based on team need is Zamir White, but based on overall value, it's Amari Cooper. You can see Zamir White has a very high upside volatility score, while Amari Cooper would be the safer pick with a lower volatility score. Here you can see, because we already drafted Tyreek Hill earlier in the draft, Tua Tagovailoa has a stacking opportunity. That's what these green icons here mean. Notice if you go to the projections tab, there are other quarterbacks that have higher projections than Tua. But because we set the stacking feature at very high in the beginning, it's going to recommend Tua over the other quarterbacks. Note that while on this page, you can also hide drafted players or show them again. Any columns highlighted in yellow are the columns that are considered when calculating points. You also have the ability to draft a player from this tab. If you created a custom cheat sheet ahead of time, you'd see any notes or color coding applied here. You can also view the draft board by round or by team, which allows you to quickly see what positions you still need to fill and what other teams still need to fill. If you know you will not be drafting a player, you can hide them from view by selecting this icon here. The Results tab will show you projected fantasy points for your roster. This is a dynamic screen that will change throughout the draft as picks are made. Finally, once you've made your last pick, you will be presented with draft analysis. The draft analysis will show you ranks, results, a breakdown. It will show you rosters based on team with a green and red color coding that indicates what the system thought of that pick based on other available players at that position when the pick was made, as well as the draft board, again with a red and green color coding. You will be able to access the draft analysis even once you've completed the draft and exited this screen. But that's it. You've completed a best ball mock draft using our Team Sync tool. Look for other video tutorials from us on how to use our Team Sync tool to your advantage in order to get the best out of your fantasy football season.